Is everybody ready?
All right, you're good.
Okay, we're underway?
Yep.
Okay, terrific. Welcome, everyone. First order of business would be looking, and I'm standing in for Cora. First order of business would be the approval of the minutes from the January 17th meeting.
If you're online, it is in the calendar invitation, the minutes there, if you haven't had a chance to look at them.
Questions, concerns, comments, criticisms? What do you think, Donna? We good? We safe?
I'll move to approve the January 17th, 2024 meeting of the school building committee.
Love that.
I'm sorry,
Second.
pool building committee.
Have a second.
My bad.
Conversation, discussion. Seeing none.
I think we got to do a roll call.
I think you're right.
Want me to do it?
I'll take a crack at it. Gordon Smith.
Yes.
Benjamin Murphy.
Not
Or you're not voting, I'm sorry. Donna Prather. Kevin.
Yes,
Greg.
Yes.
Bruce.
I have to abstain, I was absent.
Excellent. And who, we got John and Rich and one more?
Matt?
Oh, Matthew.
Yes. Yes.
And myself, yes.
Okay,
Okay, excellent.
that passes. Thank you.
Moving on to the second order of business. You know what, Ben, I'll let you roll with this one.
Thank you, Steve. All right, well, thank you everyone for coming in on such short notice. We don't have a very long meeting for you today. It should be very quick. But it's an important meeting because the CM Selection Committee has concluded its selection phase and have a recommendation for your committee for a preferred construction manager for the project. So just a little history, because I think the last time I spoke specifically to the pool building committee about the CM selection process, we were still in the qualifications phase. So we went through the qualifications. There were 6 construction management firms who submitted on the project. Through our review, we found 4 of those 6 firms to be qualified for the project. So we issued requests for proposals to each one of them. And we received proposals on January 3rd. At which point each of the CM selection committee members, which is Bruce Fenney, Steve Crucial, Beth Margin Bauscher, Frank Page, myself, and Christian Whitsitt. We reviewed the proposals and we came up with what you're seeing up on the screen, the evaluation criteria, which is really just specific to the requirements that we put forth in the request for proposal. And so going through the proposals, we rated the firms based on what they proposed, the quality of what they were proposing on the first 8 categories that you see. And then finally, we did have interviews, and the interview, as you can see, we weighted the most in terms of the points. And we just concluded the interviews last Friday. So after Friday's interviews, we sat down on Monday as a group to deliberate, share thoughts, what we liked, what we didn't like, and then ultimately, scored the CMs based on how they performed in the interview. So I think the consensus from the group, and I'll kick it over to Bruce and Steve afterwards, and Christian if they want to share any thoughts, but the consensus was that 3 of the 4 contractors that we heard from on Friday were incredibly impressive. Each one of them showcased that they had good teams, they had good approaches to pre-construction, construction, schedule management, budget management, all of that good stuff. So it really was like splitting hairs, but you can follow the numbers up on the screen and see where everybody landed. The group did feel as though that Fontaine performed the highest in the interview and overall. And what set them apart was really a couple of things that I'll lead into, and these guys can follow in if I miss anything. But their team, all of the teams that were proposed were good, had experience building these kinds of buildings. But Fontaine's team, not only did they have the experience, they're a local team, very local. They either reside, each one of them either resides in East Long Meadow or one of the neighboring towns. So you're not going to do much better than that. But more so than that, it was really the team itself had worked together for the last 6 or 7 years on really successful projects out in the Worcester area. So keeping that consistency, I think, was huge. And then beyond that, just they seemed just so much, not so much more in tune with the project, but they showed that they, had done their homework. They understood what not only this committee wants, but what the community at large wants, what is important to the community, kind of how they saw this project going. Their logistics plans were very thoughtful. They thought about how they're going to set up a productive and safe site, but also, they paid a lot of attention to the existing school operations and, mitigating any disturbances or what have you, which, can be a lot because, they don't have all the information. They do a lot of homework and everything, but they're not in the room all the time. And we feel as though they hit on a lot of the points that we agreed were important for the group. And so at the end of our deliberations on Monday, each committee member graded the CMs, and I averaged those, tallied it up, put it into the master score sheet here. And the numbers at the bottom are all based out of 100 max points. So that's where we landed, and the selection committee does have a recommendation after this, but I'll kick it to the rest of the group who sat through Friday. And Friday was a commitment, so I'm appreciative of the group. I thank you for staying awake for the whole time. Each interview was an hour and a half. I mean, usually we're doing hour interviews, and that's a lot to handle, but it was even more so. So thank you for sitting through that on a Friday and getting us to where we're at.
Ben, I would just add to that, and I agree with everything you said. I would also add that of the 3 firms that we thought were really in the running, 2 of them are multi-billion-dollar national operations, upwards of 150 projects in play at any given time. And we felt that it was meaningful that not only was Fontaine local, but that they might be a little bit more appropriately scaled such that we are getting the appropriate attention we need, not just from the team, but from senior management, so that if anything were to go awry, if we end up with some kind of challenge somewhere, and we will, we're not trying to reach corporate down in Baltimore. We're not trying to reach corporate down in Providence, right? Their office is 9 minutes from here. It's nice to have.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Bruce?
You guys hit all the highlights. I can't say much more. Like I said, I think they provided some mobilization, diagrams, part of their package. They thought outside the box, and to provide less disruption, I guess, to the operation of the school during the construction phase. They had some unique designs, obviously, going around the stadium, which none of the other firms even looked at. And like I said, the level of detail they went into was much, much greater than the other firms. So,
Well, I mean, and some local knowledge, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
they're talking
exactly.
about fireworks and summer concerts, and how can we keep more fields open longer?
yes,
Or how can we get new fields open faster?
right. All
So, I
those
mean,
things. Yep.
They hit a lot of it. Christian? Anything to add?
No, you guys covered it
Okay.
entirely.
All right. Anyone have any questions about the process or any additional information you might want to have to make a suitable vote?
We had a slight discussion ahead of the meeting, Gordon, Ben and I, about signatories on the contract awarded to the CM. Would like for the superintendent of schools and school committee chair to be part of that process in terms of, I know there's not a lot of negotiation in that contract, but I understand there are some areas that can be negotiated. So if that's okay with the rest of the committee, as well as Tom Christensen certainly would be a signatory, and building committee chair.
It certainly can be. I would, like I said before, at a minimum, it has to include, so for the high school project, Gordon has to sign off because he was listed as the point on the OIG application. But like I said, beyond that, you can certainly factor in whoever you want. On the pool side for the natatorium, Tom does need to sign. Again, whoever else you want to involve for the signatories, that's fine by us, and we'll share all the information that we're going to be working with the selected firm with.
Okay, great.
Excellent. Anyone else? Anyone online? No, seeing none?
So I believe Ben had drafted a motion. If people are comfortable, we just need someone to enter and read that motion, and then second, and we can have further discussion on that motion if need be.
Ben, is this subject to negotiation though as well, and should that be stated in the motion? Again, there's not a lot to negotiate. Bruce, what's your experience?
No, typically you don't need to put that in the
Make it
motion.
subject to.
Yeah.
Because-
It's already, it was part of the RFP process, so it's already, the language is already in there to negotiate.
Would if, for example, a firm is selected and for some reason the negotiation falls apart?
Then you go to the
Then go to.
line.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
awesome.
That's in the RFP.
Thank you for that.
I'd like to make a motion, the East Long Meadow High School Pool Building Committee votes to approve the CM Selection Committee's recommendation to hire Fontaine Brothers, Inc. as the construction manager for the East Long Meadow High School natatorium project.
Bruce made the motion, Steve seconded.
Discussion? Anyone?
Just that the intention of the subcommittee would also be the same recommendation for the building, because we've always intended that, just we're stating here. Thank you.
All right. We'll run it down. No. Donna?
Yes.
Donna's a yes. Kevin?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Myself, I'm a yes. Matthew?
Yes.
And I believe that's it.
I'm a
Oh,
yes.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. You're on so many committees, it's hard. I apologize.
I'll go along with the crowd. Yes.
Okay, excellent. So it is written, so it shall be done. Any design topics you want to touch on while you've got the gang gathered? And it's okay to say no.
Good.
Late.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of it, because we met recently, so we didn't intend to present, but I don't think we talked about the fact that the design team had been looking at the possibility of rotating the pool a few degrees,
5 degrees.
5 degrees.
Which way?
That way. Vertically?
Counterclockwise?
Counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise.
So more in towards the Horseshoe campus and making more of than a,
And
A little further from the football field is the important part. The site team is getting a little bit crunched at our northeast corner of the swimming pool. And it allows for our northern wall to be facing a little bit more true north, still not quite there yet, but
is that going to change the sun and its impact on
I think
there?
it will
help
improve
a
it.
little bit.
Yeah, good, perfect.
Never mind now, when it comes to the PV anyways, those are typically mounted so they get the full solar capacity that they can too, so they're not fixed at
Not
a certain.
affected.
Yeah.
And we'll get, the parking is part of the issue on that side, is that part of the reason?
it was more of a grading issue.
Oh.
Because the pool's gonna be quite a bit higher than the road is by the football field, so just giving us a little bit more space there to accomplish that grading.
it was that or pick the entire game field up.
Let's rotate.
Yeah, time and money, right?
Anything can be done.
Okay. But you guys are in the midst of that right now? Or it's a done deal and?
Yeah, I think we've come to agreement about it, and we were going to talk about it in the school building committee meeting, so since the two committees are at different times, they would be hearing about it, but just so this committee is aware of that conversation as well.
Sounds like it's well justified.
See if I could just add, just in terms of the CM, so we will invite them to the next building committee meetings. I'm sure they're gonna want to get in and get a feel for both of the committees, so, yeah.
How big a group typically would attend that?
That depends.
Probably
3-ish,
Yeah, 3.
I would say.
That's
Just wanted to
three to
do
the
it.
interview, they brought 11.
That's what's making me,
I don't know how many chairs to have.
I'll let them know we don't need all the enforcements, but.
Yeah, 3 at best. Okay. Design team good? Any other new business we should be aware of, we should contemplate? None in the room, any online? Nope. Seeing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, is there a second? Seconded, conversation, discussion. Seeing none. Here we are again, Mr. Smith.
Yes.
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 Prather, yes. Mr. McGee. Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Finney.
Yes.
Myself. Yes. Mr. Boucher.
Yes.
Okay,
There we have it.
adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Easy enough, yeah. Thank you, Kevin.